Thank you so much for joining us. We've got another HRAI webinar. This time we're talking employee benefits, strengthening your HVAC team. We're going to be covering why companies use employee benefits, group retirement plans, and supplemental programs to attract and retain staff, as well as provide a well-rounded tax-efficient compensation package. I'm not going to be the one doing the talking. We've got an expert for this, and her name is Candy Cantwell. She's with Summit Commercial Insurance Solutions, and I'm just going to invite her to join us right now. Candy. Pop on that screen. There she is right there. Thank you
Hello.
so much. Thank you so much for joining us. Summit has been a repeat popular webinar presenter, so happy to see you guys back again.
Awesome.
Great. Before I let you get started, just a couple of housekeeping notes. As always, these are interactive webinars, so if you'd like to ask a question, we'll be taking those at the end of the presentation. You can put those in the Q&A bar or the chat. I'll be watching those. I'll pop back on at the end to take those. Otherwise, this is being recorded and it will be posted on HRAI's YouTube page. So if you want to watch it after, share it, or if you know someone missed it, please pass it along. That's me. That's my housekeeping. I'm going to pass it over to you, Candy.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Matt. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. So we're really excited to have you here, and a really big thanks to HRAI for giving us this space to present to you. So over the next hour or so, we're going to be chatting about some key ways to modernize your employee benefits and how to make sure that they really support your team. So just a quick note before we get started, anything we talk about today is meant to be informative. It's not actual advice. So we want to share some ideas and strategies, but make sure that you talk to your current benefits advisor or reach out to me if you do need some help before you make any big changes based on what we're going to cover today. So we're here to spark some ideas, help you think about how to improve your plan and your offering. So hopefully you walk away with some useful takeaways. So let's just jump in and get started. I'm going to turn off my camera, and so I'm not a distraction, and then kind of go from there. I think you should be able to see the screen. If not, let me know. We will get started.
Good on my end, Candy.
Okay, awesome. So here's what we're going to walk through today. Whether you're managing HR or running the company yourself, this agenda is designed to give you real, practical insight into employee benefits. So what matters, what works, and what to watch out for. We're going to start with the basics. What exactly are employee benefits? In our world, it's not just about medical or dental. It's about looking after your crew, physically, financially, and mentally. Whether that's offering health coverage, mental health supports, or something like disability insurance or retirement planning. These are all things that make a difference in keeping a skilled and motivated team. Next, we'll talk about why offering benefits just makes good business sense, especially in trades. Good workers are in high demand, and keeping them isn't just about pay. Offering even a basic benefits package can set you apart when recruiting, helping retain the people that you've trained, and reduce lost time due to injuries or burnout. There's a lot of misinformation out there, like benefits are only for big companies or my workers don't care about this stuff. We'll break down some of those myths and show how even small to mid-sized businesses can offer meaningful, cost-effective benefits and why your employees do care. Designing the right plan doesn't mean throwing money at everything. It's about choosing the right mix. What do your workers actually need? What sets you apart as an employer of choice? So we'll walk through how to think about this without overcomplicating it or breaking the bank. And even with good intentions, things can go sideways. We'll touch on some of the common mistakes that we commonly see. And finally, we'll wrap up by talking about how to choose the right benefits advisor, someone who understands benefits, knows your budget realities, and is there to advise, not just sell. And this session is about helping you build a more resilient workforce, one that sticks around, shows up healthy, and feels supported. So let's dig in and talk about what benefits can look like in the real world. As a recap, my name is Candy Cantwell, and I am the head of our Group Benefits and Life team here at Summit. You're going to notice pretty quickly that I am a benefits nerd. I've worked in this field for almost 30 years. With insurers, consulting houses, advisory firms, and I've also owned an advisory firm that I sold to a large firm back in 2022. So I look at the benefit space from multiple lenses, which I feel is really important. I also am either currently or formerly an instructor, a board member, or a committee chair for the International Foundation of Employee Benefit Plans, the Canadian Pensions and Benefits Institute, and the International Society of Certified Employee Benefit Specialists. See, told you, total nerd. But I truly love working with employers on their benefit plans and hope to light bulb some ideas for you today. So if you're an HR professional or a business owner in the skilled trades industry, you already know your team is your greatest asset. Skilled trades require physical stamina, mental sharpness, and financial security. And that's where employee benefits come in, not just as perks, but as essential tools to attract, retain, and support a strong workforce. So let's start with physical health benefits. In the trades, your employees rely on physical health every single day, whether it's working with heavy equipment, doing repetitive tasks, or being on their feet for hours. Their bodies are their tools. And that's why coverage for prescription drugs, paramedicals such as massage, physio, and chiropractor, vision, and dental care aren't luxuries. It's protection for the backbone of your business. These benefits help reduce downtime, prevent injuries from escalating, and keep your crew job ready. Next up, mental health. Working in trades can be high pressure. Long hours, physical demands, and job site risks all take a toll. More businesses are recognizing that mental health is just as important as physical safety. And that's why benefits like access to psychologists or counseling, employee assistance plans, and virtual healthcare options are gaining traction. These programs help employees manage stress, avoid burnout, and stay focused on the job. And finally, financial health. Tradespeople are often thinking long-term about supporting their families and planning for retirement. Financial benefits provide peace of mind and show that your company is invested in their future. These include life insurance and disability coverage, accidental death and dismemberment insurance, otherwise known as AD&D, and structured retirement savings plans. In industries where physical risk is real, these benefits are a mark of respect and a smart investment in workplace stability. Let's talk about why offering benefits isn't just a nice to have, it's a smart business decision. First, benefits help you attract and retain top talent. In today's competitive job market, candidates are looking beyond salary. Benefits often tip the scales in your favor. Second, offering benefits can be more cost-effective than increasing wages alone, thanks to the tax advantages they provide for both employers and employees. Third, when employees feel supported through benefits, they're more engaged and productive at work. And lastly, a well-structured benefits package sets you apart in your industry, giving your business a clear competitive advantage. So let's go into a bit of more detail on each. Let's dive into one of the most pressing challenges facing businesses in the skilled trades today, attracting and retaining qualified talent. According to the Robert Half 2025 State of Canadian Hiring Survey, the demand for skilled staff is only increasing. Nearly half of Canadian employers, or 48%, are actively looking to add permanent staff. Another 49% are trying to backfill vacant roles, and 54% are hiring contract staff to meet project demands. This surge is driven by a mix of company growth, employee turnover, and a wave of new projects. Now, if you're in skilled trades, these numbers hit even harder. Let's talk about industry-specific shifts that we're seeing. The ESDC projects that 700,000 tradespeople will retire by 2028. That's a massive loss of knowledge, experience, and capability walking out the door. Compounding this, in Ontario alone, over 50% of the current trades workforce, including apprentices, is already over 55 years or older. And here's another layer to consider: representation. According to Canada's Building Trades Union, only 4% of the construction workforce is female. That's a huge untapped labor pool. We also have to reckon with perception. For far too long, the skilled trades have been positioned as a fallback plan, not a first choice career. This image is changing, but it's really slow, and it's up to all of us to be part of that shift. So the question becomes, how do we as HR professionals and business owners build strategies that not only attract new talent, but also make them want to stay? In trades, we know how important it is to keep good people on the team. But let's face it, wage increases only go so far, and taxes eat up a big chunk before that extra money even hits the employee's account. So, for example, the average BC wage is about $53,000. If you offer a 4% raise, that's only about $64 extra per paycheck after taxes. And on top of that, as an employer, you're paying more in payroll taxes, workers' comp premiums, and health taxes. So, really, who's winning here? Instead, think about enhancing a benefit program. Things like extended health, dental, or even critical illness coverage. These are often tax-free for employees, so it feels like a real raise, and they're fully tax deductible for you as a business owner. In a tight labor market where every contractor and trade shop is competing for skilled workers, this is how you stand out. Offer a raise that makes a real difference and keeps your best people loyal and happy. Let's bring this a little closer to home. Presenteeism is a hidden issue that's likely impacting your job sites and shops more than you realize. In trades where the work is hands-on and physically demanding, having employees show up when they're not mentally or physically well doesn't just affect productivity, it can also create serious safety risks. Presenteeism happens when people come to work even though they're unwell. Maybe they're dealing with chronic pain, stress, or even burnout, but they push through because that's the culture, or they feel that they don't have another option. Sound familiar? According to a study by Manulife Financial, organizations lose 48 days per person each year to both absenteeism and presenteeism. And while absenteeism is easier to track, someone just isn't at work, presenteeism is much harder to see, but often more costly. You've probably experienced it firsthand, jobs taking longer, mistakes being made, or workers just going through the motions. So the big question for you as leaders is, what's the real cost of not addressing this? And more importantly, how can you support your workforce, your most valuable asset, to make sure that they're showing up at their best? When employees aren't well, your business feels it, right where it hurts most, productivity and profit. Let's break it down. 30% of employees say that their money worries are a constant distraction at work. That's nearly a third of your workforce not fully present on this issue alone. 40% of employees aren't getting enough sleep. And we all know how sharp and focused we feel after a bad night's rest. Imagine that as a daily reality for nearly half your team. 25% struggle with anxiety, depression, or PTSD. These mental health challenges aren't always visible, but have a significant impact on focus, teamwork, and performance. And 45% of Canadians are managing at least one chronic health condition, which can mean frequent absences, reduced energy, and higher healthcare costs. So the result? A staggering $645 million lost in productivity per year in Canada. This isn't just a health issue, it's a business issue. The question is, what are we going to do to turn this around? Let's chat about competitive advantage, because in the skilled trades, it's not just about the work that you do, it's about how you set yourself apart from everyone else. First up, protecting talent and culture. Your team isn't just a set of hands. They're years of experience, skill, and relationships. If they walk out the door, that knowledge goes with them. The right benefits and a positive work environment can help keep your people around and invested in your business. Then there's customer service. We all know that happy employees lead to happy customers. When your team feels valued and supported, it shows up in how they treat your clients, and that keeps the phone ringing. Brand reputation is huge as well. In this industry, word travels fast. Companies known for taking care of their people not only attract better talent, but they also earn trust from customers who want to work with businesses that do the right thing. And a good business plan is also a big differentiator as an employer. When workers are deciding between job offers, things like health coverage, retirement plans, and mental health supports can tip the scales in your favor. And finally, cost leadership. Sure, investing in your people has a price tag, but what's the cost of constantly hiring and training new staff? Keeping good people is one of the smartest financial moves that you can make. So at the end of the day, are your competitive advantage. Take care of them and they'll take care of your business. Let's bust one of the biggest myths out there. We don't need to offer benefits. Government programs take care of that. Here's the reality. Government coverage is limited. Most people aren't covered for the things that they need most: prescriptions, dental, paramedical services like physio or massage, or even vision care. And if you have employees working across multiple provinces, you find out quickly that our, quote, universal health system, unquote, isn't actually universal at all. Add to the fact that a huge number of Canadians don't even have access to a family doctor, making it harder to get the care they need when they need it. And let's not forget, government coverage isn't enough to maintain anyone's standard of living. With so many people living paycheck to paycheck, relying on public programs is a risky plan A. And sadly, most people don't have a plan B. So if you want to attract and keep skilled tradespeople, offering real benefits isn't just a nice to have, it's a critical part of staying competitive and supporting your workforce. All right, let's bust myth number 2. My staff don't want benefits, they'd rather just have the cash. Now, this one comes up a lot, especially in trades where cash incentives and overtime are highly valued. But let's unpack it. First off, like we talked about earlier, offering more cash doesn't necessarily put a lot more money in your employees' pockets. Again, why? Because as we mentioned earlier, cash bonuses and wage increases trigger higher costs for both the employee and you as the employer. There's taxes, WCB premiums, and healthcare tax premiums that all add up. So that extra cash quickly disappears under deductions, and the net benefit to your employee is smaller than you might think. Now, here's the real kicker. Employees do understand the value of a good benefits plan. According to the Benefits Canada Healthcare Survey, when people are considering a job or thinking about leaving their current one, the coverage of a benefits plan actually ranks higher than things like flexible work hours, the actual job that they do, their relationship with their boss, and even the workplace culture. So in a tight labor market, especially in skilled trades where recruitment and retention are ongoing challenges, a strong benefits plan isn't a nice to have, it's a competitive advantage. So the next time someone says, just give them the cash, remember, it costs more, it does less, and it doesn't stick with them a way a solid benefit plan does. Now let's tackle myth number 3. I am their boss, I'm not their mother. They need to take care of themselves. And I get it, especially in industries like trades, people pride themselves on being tough and self-reliant. But here's the thing, the mindset might actually be costing you good people and lost productivity. Let's talk about chronic health issues. Individual health plans don't cover things like pre-existing conditions or regular medications. So if your employees are dealing with health challenges, chances are they're either paying out of pocket or just skipping care altogether. And when people aren't feeling their best, guess what? Their work and your business gets to take the hit. Now, on to mental health. The wait time to see a psychiatrist in Canada is anywhere from 3 to 12 months, depending on where you live. And if they try to see a psychologist, that's completely out of pocket, costing anywhere from $150 to $250 an hour. Most folks can't afford that, so they just try to tough it out, and that doesn't usually end well. And let's be real about retirement savings. The average 65-year-old Canadian only has about $272,000 saved. Experts say you should have 10 to 12 times your annual income put away by then. So if someone's making $100,000 a year, they should have at least $1 million saved, but most are nowhere near that. So is offering benefits about babysitting your team? Not at all. It's about giving them the tools to actually take care of themselves so that they can stay healthy, keep showing up, and help your business thrive. That's a win-win. When you're evaluating or building out a benefits plan, there are some of the key design considerations that you want to keep top of mind. First, you want to focus on coverage that protects. This is the foundation, making sure your employees have access to the core protections that they need for their health and financial security. Things like extended health, dental, disability coverage, and life insurance aren't just perks. They're critical safety nets that help your workforce stay healthy and productive. Next is coverage that's flexible. And this is really important in industries like trades, where your workforce is incredibly diverse. Younger workers might be looking for financial planning tools and mental health resources, while those later in their careers may prioritize retirement planning and chronic condition management. Flexibility through tools like health and lifestyle spending accounts allow employees to select benefits that actually meets their needs. And third, it's essential to provide coverage that's easy to access and understand. Even the most generous benefit plan won't be effective if employees don't know how to use it. Think about how you're communicating the plan, how easy it is to enroll or make claims, and whether digital tools are available to simplify the process. These design considerations aren't just nice to have, they're what make the difference between a benefits plan employees ignore and one that they truly value. So let's start by diving deeper into the first key element of plan design, coverage that protects. When we talk about protection, we're really looking at three distinct layers. The first is true insurance. These are the serious, often catastrophic events that can significantly impact an employee's life and financial well-being. This includes things like life insurance, AD&D, disability coverage, critical illness, out-of-country coverage, and high-cost prescription drugs. These are the safety nets that provide real financial protection when life takes an unexpected turn. Next, we have coverage for everyday needs. This is the coverage employees use more frequently. Things like prescriptions, dental care, mental health services, paramedical supports, eye exams, and medical supplies. While these aren't catastrophic events, they directly affect your employees' day-to-day well-being and quality of life. And finally, there's a growing expectation for employers to assist with savings. This isn't traditional insurance, but it's becoming an increasingly important part of a comprehensive benefits plan. Think about supporting employees with retirement saving vehicles, helping them plan for major life milestones like home ownership, preparing for a rainy day, or even funding education for themselves or their families. A well-rounded benefit plan doesn't just focus on one of these areas, it considers all three. That's how you create true financial security and peace of mind for your workforce. Now let's talk about flexibility. And no, I'm not asking you to touch your toes. I'm not there yet myself. I'm talking about the flexibility in your employee benefit plan. In the skilled trades, we know how diverse our workforce really is. On any job site, you might have a 60-year-old journeyman working alongside a 22-year-old apprentice. And guess what? Their needs couldn't be more different. For our seasoned workforce members, traditionalists, boomers, and Gen X, they are often thinking about the long game. They're looking for comprehensive coverage, chronic disease management, and support for things like retirement and even elder care or sandwich generation issues. These benefits help them stay healthy and confident as they approach the later stages of their careers. But on the flip side, our younger crew, millennials and Gen Zs, are navigating completely different challenges. Mental health supports and wellness programs aren't just nice to haves, they're expected within these generations. They're looking for things like telemedicine options because let's face it, they're so plugged in that they don't understand sitting in a waiting room for hours when they don't have to. Student loan assistance, parental leave, and financial wellness programs are also top of mind because affordability and life balance are massive issues for them. So what's the takeaway here? One size fits all benefits just don't cut it anymore. If you want to attract and keep top talent across all age groups, your benefit program needs to be as flexible as the people that it serves. And the good news, there are creative ways to build a plan that works for everyone without breaking the bank. So ask yourself, is your current plan meeting the needs of a potential 5 generations in your workforce? If not, it might be time for a fresh look. Now, let's talk about something we all appreciate when things are just easy. Because let's face it, managing benefits shouldn't feel like assembling furniture without instructions, right? First up, clear benefits communication. Your team should not need a dictionary or a magnifying glass to figure out what's covered. When we communicate benefits clearly and simply, employees actually use them, which is the whole point, isn't it? Next, easy to use insurer portals. If logging into a benefits portal feels like cracking a secret code, that's a problem. The right provider provides intuitive platforms where employees can find what they need in just a few clicks, saving time and frustration for everyone. Integrated benefits are another game changer. Think virtual care options that are built right into your plan. Whether it's mental health support or quick access to a healthcare provider, integrated solutions make it easier for employees to stay healthy without jumping through hoops. And let's be honest, sometimes things do go sideways. Claims get denied, coverage questions pop up, and people get frustrated. That's where having real accessible support makes all the difference. Because when employees know someone's got their back, even the messy situations feel easier to handle. So remember, coverage doesn't have to be complicated. When it's clear, accessible, integrated, and well supported, it becomes something your team actually values and uses. As we move forward, it's important to also recognize some common pitfalls in benefit plan design and administration that can undermine your efforts. These aren't issues to overlook, and we'll explore them in more detail in the coming slides. But for now, let's quickly touch on a few key challenges. Poorly designed disability programs, which often fail to cover the full spectrum of employee needs. The lack of chronic health coverage, which leaves gaps for conditions that require ongoing care. Missing mental and financial supports, which are critical to your employees' overall well-being, but often get left out of benefit plans. And finally, the one-size-fits-all plan design, which fails to address the unique needs of a diverse workforce. We'll break these down further and discuss how to avoid them as we continue. So let's dive deeper. One of the most common pitfalls I see in benefit plan design is poorly designed disability programs. Let me show you an example of where things can go wrong and how it leaves employees and employers vulnerable. Imagine you have a long-term disability plan where the benefit is calculated at a flat 66.7% of the employee's gross monthly earnings. On the surface, this seems totally fine, right? A 2/3 replacement of earnings sounds like decent coverage. But here's where it falls short. The maximum benefit on this plan is capped at $4,000 per month. This means employees who earn more, say someone whose 67% is $6,000 a month, they're only getting $4,000. The benefit is non-taxable, meaning that the employee pays 100% of the premiums, but the benefit when received is tax-free. Now, there's also something called a non-evidence maximum. What does this mean? It's simply the maximum amount of coverage someone can get under the plan without medical underwriting. In this example, it matches the maximum of $4,000. In addition, the employer decided to extend the waiting period on their LTD plan as it saves them 2% on their LTD rates. So now employees use the full EI benefit of 26 weeks before transitioning to the group disability program. And this contract only insures base salary. What does that mean for employees who earn bonuses, commissions, or overtime? Well, those extra earnings won't be covered under this particular plan. If an employee regularly works overtime or earns a significant part of their income through commissions, this leaves a massive hole in their coverage. So while this type of LTD plan might appear adequate at first glance, when we apply this plan to an example, let's see where it falls short. Let's transport ourselves to Dunder Mifflin, a paper company who has a range of employee types: hourly, salary, commissioned, and management. Pam works as a receptionist with a salary of $55,000 per year. Next, we have Daryl, a warehouse manager earning $28.85 an hour with a total salary of $72,000 in 2024. Then we have Jim, a sales rep earning $70,000 a year with additional commission income that pushes his total earnings to about $120,000 last year. And finally, we have Michael, a regional manager with a salary of $110,000 plus bonuses. So last year he made about $158,000. So let's take each employee and see what happens to them under the LTD program that we just ran through. Pam earns $4,583 per month, or just over $1,000 per week. On employment insurance, her calculated benefit is $582 per week, which covers 55% of her income. The flaw here is that the employer opted to extend the waiting period to align with EI's waiting period. So for long-term disability, Pam is eligible to receive 67% of her income, but the extended waiting period means that Pam is missing out on $1,143 in disability income. The gap is even wider when you consider that EI is considered taxable income by CRA, but the benefit under the LTD plan is tax-free. So was that 2% premium savings worth the loss when you really break it down? For Daryl, Jim, and Michael, the situation is even more complex. If any of them need to go on EI, they don't receive 55% of their income like Pam does. They only get between 50 to 23% because of the benefit caps out at $695 a week under the federal program. As well, the extended waiting period results in over a $2,000 benefit loss for each of them. While their financial situation improves slightly once they transition to LTD, there are still two significant design flaws holding them back. One is the $4,000 benefit maximum, and the other is that the policy only covers salary. So as a result, Daryl's LTD benefit increases from 50% of his earnings to just 56%. Meanwhile, Jim and Michael see a 9% increase, but their replacement rates are still much lower than Pam's at 39 and 30%. I don't think many HR professionals or business owners want to have that difficult conversation with a higher income, therefore higher valued employee who, on top of being physically injured, is now financially and mentally stressed because of the limited support they're receiving. So when we're talking about modernizing your LTD plan, one of the most important changes is the graded benefit formula. This approach takes into account marginal tax brackets, which helps ensure that higher income employees aren't left in a situation where they're paying for a benefit they can't fully access when they need it most. This adjustment makes sure employees are receiving the income replacement that truly aligns with their earnings. Next, consider reducing the waiting period to 17 weeks, or the old EI waiting period. This not only financially benefits the employee, but it also brings disability case management into the picture sooner. The sooner an employee can access support, the better the return to work outcome. Early intervention helps reduce long-term disability claims, ultimately benefiting both the employee and the business. Now, if your employees receive commissions, regularly paid bonuses, or even income from holding companies, those should be included in the LTD benefit calculation and should be written into your group benefits policy. Here's my rule of thumb. If someone asks your employee how much they earn, the number likely includes these additional forms of income, and their household expenses are probably based on that total income as well. That's the income that should be protected under the benefits plan, not just the base salary. An arbitrary LTD maximum just doesn't cut it. While some smaller employers might be limited by what their insurer can offer, it's essential to run the numbers and understand where the gaps exist. That way, you can make informed decisions about how to best provide coverage that meets the actual needs of your staff. Non-evidence maximums are often tied to the size of the group. The larger the group, the more risk is spread out, and insurers will typically offer higher coverage limits without the need for medical evidence. If your company has grown since last year's renewal, it's very important to ask if this maximum can be increased to provide more coverage. And quite frankly, that is a job of a good advisor. Lastly, if EI benefit provisions don't align with your corporate values, specifically around protecting your staff, you might want to consider replacing this coverage with a short-term disability program. Alternatively, you can top up EI through Service Canada's EI Supplemental Unemployment Benefit Program, which is totally a mouthful, so that's why it's commonly called EI Sub. This program is free to implement. It can be tailored to fit multiple employee classes, and if there's no claims, there's no cost to you. By making these updates, you ensure that your benefit plan is not just in line with industry standards, but also actively working to protect your employees' financial well-being in a comprehensive way. Now, let's touch on something that's quietly becoming one of the biggest challenges in workforce health: chronic disease coverage. Chronic conditions aren't just health issues that come and go. As defined by the Australian Institute for Health and Welfare, these are often long-term, often complex conditions that develop gradually, sometimes without any clear symptoms, and they tend to stick around. Over time, they can lead to serious health complications, functional impairments, and even permanent disabilities. But here's the real concern for business, especially in physically demanding industries. When chronic health issues aren't properly managed, they don't just impact the individual. They lead to higher absenteeism, lower productivity, increased health claims, and ultimately greater workforce instability. And the reality is most benefit plans aren't just built to effectively support chronic disease management. That's a gap that leaves both employees and employers vulnerable. So how widespread is chronic disease? Let's take a look at some hard numbers on how chronic health conditions are already impacting today's workforces. So let's pretend that we have a plan with 50 employees and 55 dependents, totaling 110 lives under your umbrella. And based on national health data, let's see what chronic health stats potentially look like within this population. You have potentially 9 members living with heart disease. 3 are managing chronic respiratory issues like asthma or COPD. 15 are battling addiction. Yes, 15. 4 are struggling with depression, often quietly. 11 might have diabetes, most of them type 2. 22 are dealing with arthritis, which can directly affect their ability to perform physical tasks. And 9 regularly suffer from migraines that can derail entire days. The reality is, chronic conditions aren't rare. They're right here in your workforce and in your employees' homes. The real question is, are you offering benefits that actually help manage these issues, or are they left on their own? Let's take a moment to really understand the magnitude of the chronic health coverage gap in Canada. According to the Public Health Agency of Canada, this isn't just a small issue. We're talking about a staggering $190 billion per year impacting our economy. Out of that, $122 billion comes directly from income and productivity losses. That means businesses are paying the price through absenteeism, presenteeism, and even long-term disability claims. And it doesn't stop there. Employees themselves are shouldering $68 billion in direct health costs, most of it out of pocket. That's a financial strain that affects not only their well-being, but also their engagement and retention at work. Zooming in on Ontario, the province alone saw $19.7 billion in chronic disease costs back in 2019. And when you factor in lifestyle contributors like tobacco use, alcohol consumption, inactivity, and poor nutrition, it's clear. Without proactive health supports, this cycle just continues. So the big question is, what can we actually do about it? The good news is it starts with your benefits plan. Up next, we'll walk through how to modernize your plan to better support chronic health management, improve employee well-being, and ultimately protect your bottom line. Now that we understand the impact, let's talk about solutions, specifically how to modernize your plan to make a difference. First, analyze your claims data. This is one of the most underused tools at your disposal. Your claims data can tell you exactly what health issues are affecting your workforce. Are stress-related prescriptions climbing? Are chronic conditions like diabetes and hypertension showing up frequently? This data gives you a roadmap for where to focus your efforts. Second, benchmark your plan against your competitors. Are you allocating your benefit budget in a way that keeps you competitive? Sometimes it's not about spending more, it's about spending smarter. Rebalance your benefit offering to focus more on chronic condition support, mental health resources, or wellness programs, and that will make a huge impact. Third, don't underestimate the value of simply asking your people. A quick staff survey can uncover hidden concerns and tell you what benefits actually matter to them. Remember, the best plan is the one that employees will use and value. And finally, even the best plan can fall flat without clear and simple communications. Make sure that your team understands what's available to them and how to access it. Confusion leads to underutilization, and underutilization leads right back to the problems that we discussed earlier. Modernizing your benefit plan isn't just about adding complexity. It's about being strategic, informed, and focused on what really impacts your workforce. But even with the best intentions, there's one area that many plans fall short: mental health supports. And this is especially critical in trades. In industries like construction, manufacturing, and other trades, the culture has often been tough it out, push through stress, ignore your burnout, and keep working. But the reality is mental health issues are a leading cause of disability claims, and it's hitting the workforce hard. We are seeing higher rates of anxiety, depression, and substance misuse, often tied to long hours, physical strain, job insecurity, and the stigma around asking for help. And when mental health isn't properly supported, it shows up in higher absenteeism, safety incidents, and turnover, things that no business can afford. So next, let's look at what really is happening with mental health in the skilled trades and how you can ensure your benefit plan isn't just checking the box, but actually providing the right kind of support where it's needed most. First off, support needs to be accessible, proactive, and relevant to your workforce. First, start by educating supervisors and managers. In trades, supervisors are often the first to notice when someone isn't quite themselves. Maybe it's a change in behavior on the job site or increased safety incidents. Equip them with the skills to recognize the signs of mental health struggles and, just as importantly, how to approach those conversations in a supportive way. Next, rethink how you're using your employee assistance plan. These resources shouldn't just be a crisis tool. They should be promoted proactively. Encourage employees to access support before things hit a breaking point. Consider adding pharmacogenetic testing to your benefits plan. This is especially valuable when it comes to mental health medications. It helps to ensure employees are prescribed medications that actually work for their unique genetic makeup, reducing the trial and error process that can lead to frustration and delayed recovery. And also, don't forget to highlight support for women's health. In male-dominated industries, we sometimes overlook that women in the trades face unique mental health pressures, perimenopause symptoms, balancing family demands with long hours, and more. Work with vendors who enhance drug reimbursement. Mental health medications can be costly, and if employees can't afford their prescriptions, even the best treatment plans fall short. And finally, make sure employees are aware of free mental health resources available to them, whether through government programs, community organizations, or virtual platforms. Sometimes the biggest barrier to accessing help is simply not knowing where to start. By taking these steps, you're not only modernizing your plan, you're building a culture that supports mental health in real, tangible ways. While mental health support is a critical piece, we can't overlook another major source of stress that's hitting employees hard: financial wellness. In the skilled trades, where work can be seasonal and income sometimes fluctuates, financial literacy and stability become even more important. Yet the data shows a troubling gap. 73% of Canadian high school students say they're leaving school without the financial tools that they need. This means that many of the apprentices and younger tradespeople entering your workforce are already behind when it comes to managing money. 55% of women want to improve their financial literacy, which is important to consider as more women enter the trades and face unique financial planning challenges, especially related to family responsibilities. And here's a big one: 59% of Canadians feel financial stress on a daily basis. That's not just a personal problem. It affects focus, productivity, and even safety on the site. It's even more challenging for newcomers to Canada. Only 8% of visible minority newcomers feel that they have a good understanding of Canada's financial system, making it harder for them to achieve financial security and fully integrate into the workforce. And where are your people turning for answers? Increasingly, it is social media, which isn't always the most reliable or accurate source of financial advice. So the bottom line is this: financial stress is a hidden productivity killer. And by integrating financial wellness resources into your benefit plan, you're not just helping employees build a more secure future, you're directly supporting their mental health and workplace performance. So let's talk about some practical ways to bring financial wellness into your organization. So how do we turn that financial stress into financial confidence? Just like with mental health, it starts with modernizing your plan to provide real practical support. First, look at ways to offer financial savings tools directly through your benefits, whether it's RRSPs, TFSAs, or other retirement saving vehicles, providing options that meet employees where they are in their financial journey. And if you're in a position to do so, even small employer matches can go a long way in encouraging participation. Next, make sure that you're highlighting financial counseling options in your EAP. Many employees don't even realize that this support exists within their current plan, or they think EAPs are only for acute situations. Promote it proactively to help employees with budgeting, debt management, and long-term financial planning before it becomes a crisis. Provide trusted resources for everything from savings to investing to retirement planning. And be sure to use credible sources like CPA Canada or FC Canada to cut through the noise of unreliable financial advice circulating online. Consider leveraging health spending accounts to help staff reduce out-of-pocket health and dental expenses. That will free up their income for other financial priorities. And finally, think about the power of a lifestyle or a wellness spending account. With these accounts, you can support employees in ways that directly improve financial literacy and security, like reimbursing costs for will preparation, financial advisor consultations, continuing education courses, or even paying down student loans. The goal here is to give your employees the tools not to just survive financially, but to thrive. And when you do that, you'll see the positive ripple effects across mental health, engagement, productivity, and retention. And here's where many organizations hit a wall, even with the best intentions. they're still using one-size-fits-all plan designs. But let's be honest, when it comes to trades, one size definitely does not fit all. These outdated plans are often built for office environments and not job sites. They lack the flexibility to meet the unique needs of your workforce, whether that's supporting a young apprentice trying to manage debt, a seasoned tradesperson thinking about retirement, or a working parent balancing family demands. And here's the reality. If your plan looks the same as your competitors, what's stopping your people from jumping ship for $1 or $2 more an hour? Your benefit plan should be a tool for retention and differentiation, not just a box that you check. Even worse, some of these old plans are unintentionally discriminatory. They don't reflect the diversity of today's workforce, ignoring the unique needs of women in the trades, cultural considerations, or the fact that not everyone's path to financial and physical wellness looks the same. So if you're serious about standing out as an employer of choice, it's time to rethink plan design. So let's show a little bit about what a modern, flexible, and inclusive benefit plan actually looks like. So how do you break out of that one-size-fits-all mindset and build a plan that actually works for your people? It starts with benchmarking your current plan against your competitors. You need to know where you stand, and you offering more, less, or exactly the same as everyone else in your industry. And more importantly, what you're offering align with what your workforce actually values? That's why it's critical to survey your employees. Don't assume that you know what they want. Ask them directly. The needs of a 25-year-old apprentice are going to be very different from someone approaching retirement. And next, take the time to understand your renewal and claims data. This is valuable insight into what benefits are actually being used and where there may be gaps. Be intentional about offering women's health and gender affirmation coverages. The skilled trades are evolving, and your benefit plan should reflect and support the diversity in your workforce. Like we discussed earlier, revisit your disability program. Are you providing enough support to help employees return to work safely and sustainably after an injury or an illness? Or are there gaps in coverage making recovery harder than it needs to be? And don't forget about employees who are transitioning to retirement. Many want to scale back their hours gradually and not just retire full stop. So make sure that they still have access to valuable benefits during that phase. This might include lowering the hour eligibility policies within your plan, or offering spending accounts that gives them the flexibility to choose supports that they need most. And finally, build in flexibility with spending accounts. Health and lifestyle accounts empower employees to choose what is most valuable to them. So at the end of the day, a modernized plan isn't just a benefit, it's a strategic advantage in attracting and keeping the skilled talent that your business depends on. And of course, building the kind of modern, flexible, and effective plan that we've been talking about doesn't happen by accident. It starts with choosing the right advisor. Look for someone with industry experience and the right credentials, someone who understands the unique challenges of your workforce and can tailor solutions specifically for your teams. You also want an advisor who offers guidance and not just product. If every conversation feels like a sales pitch, that is a red flag. The right advisor will help you navigate plan design, cost management, and long-term strategy, not just hand you a brochure. Make sure that they offer a breadth of services. Your business and workforce are evolving, and your advisor should be able to support everything from traditional benefits to mental health programs, financial wellness, and diversity and inclusion initiatives. Also, don't underestimate the value of strong insurance carrier relationships. A well-connected advisor can negotiate better rates, advocate on your behalf during renewals, and bring you competitive options you might not access otherwise. And of course, compensation transparency matters. You should know exactly how your advisor is being compensated and whether that aligns with the advice that you're actually receiving. And finally, ask yourself, does your advisor truly fit with your corporate values? Are they invested in the long-term well-being of your people, or are they just checking boxes? Because when you choose the right advisor, you're not just improving your benefit plan, you're investing in the future success of your business and your people. So before we move to the Q&A portion, I want to highlight Summit in the HRAI Member Advantage Program. Our partnership with HRAI provides members with access to a wide range of insurance solutions, whether cyber, commercial, liability, directors and officers, builders risk, and more. So if you think I'm a nerd, our commercial team loves to nerd out on their side as well. So you can learn more and access solutions either through our website at summitcover.ca or visit the Member Advantage program link in the HRAI website. So thanks very much for spending part of your day with me. I hope that you have found this webinar helpful as you work on building a strong, resilient, and dedicated workforce. So to learn more or reach out, please feel free to scan the QR code that's on this slide. So now we have some time for Q&A.
Right on. We got a few minutes left. Do you want to put up your contact information if you haven't already, Candy?
Uh,
Or we can put it in the chat, or you can just say it right
there
now.
we go. I will put
Yeah,
it in the chat. Give me a
sure.
second.
And maybe say it as well in case people are watching this.
There we go. So
Yeah.
if you're watching, my email address is candy@summitcover.ca. I'll put it into the chat. And then if you use the QR code, it takes right to the benefits portion of our site. You can book a meeting with me. You can learn more about benefits, all that kind of fun stuff.
Wonderful. And I'm glad you mentioned the Member Advantage Program connection to HRAI too, because there's some untapped benefits for members that's just waiting there for people.
There we go.
Right on. Thank you for putting that there. I don't see any questions for now, and we are actually up on the hour. So I think
Yeah.
we will say thank you so much for showing up, everyone who did, and a special thanks to Candy who provided this wonderful information.
Awesome. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. I hope you have a great long weekend.
Oh,
And
yeah, that's right.
again, if any questions come up, they always come up after the fact. So please feel free to reach out.
All right. With that, have a great long weekend, and we'll see Summit soon, I'm sure.
Bye.
Take care. Cheers.